All right, gang, here is the number one thing I wish I could tell everyone who's about to retire. That's the advice I wish I could give all of you. And here it is. Number one, whatever you do, do not, and I repeat, do not rely on the 4% rule. Now, maybe you don't know what the 4% rule is. If you don't, it's pretty simple. This was a rule created back in 1995. And here's how it worked. You would take your portfolio, like say you had, I don't know, let's use $1 million. You might have more, you might have less, but let's use that as a starting point. You had $1 million. You say, here's what the rule would tell you to do. Take that $1 million and put about half of it in a diversified stock market mix, put about half of it in a diversified fixed income mix, and then just withdraw, scrape off pro rata 4% a year from each of the accounts. Just take off 4% in the first year. So in the first year, if you do the math, it's like $1 million. I'm going to take 40,000 of income, right? That's what the rule says. And then next year, what you're going to do is you're going to increase the income by whatever the inflation rate is. So let's say inflation's 3%. So you'd say, okay, 40,000 first year, I'll take out 41,200 the next year, and so on. This is exactly what all the big financial firms are still telling you to do, but here's why you shouldn't do it. First of all, the guy who created the rule said, don't do it today. Because why? He said, look, when I created this rule, the stock market was averaging 14% a year. I could go out and buy 7% government bonds. You can't do that anymore. It's a different world. This rule doesn't work in today's world. So the guy who created the rule right out of the gate says, don't use it. But here's the thing. I have personal experience as to why you shouldn't use it. Because way back when my very own parents retired back in 1999, this is what I was taught. That was exactly the rule that I followed in building their portfolio. And in 1999, that was great because the stock market was up. But what happened in 2000, 2001, 2002? For 3 years, the markets went down, down, down. And you know what happened at the end of those 3 years? My parents and millions of other Americans who were following this 4% rule, millions of Americans, they were all in the same boat, half of their money was gone. And it was gone because of a combination of markets going down and taking money out of an account that's going down. So as the account's going down, you're having to sell more and more shares to get your income. It was a downward spiral. And once half your money's gone, guess what? It's almost impossible to come back from that. Don't be doing that, right? Don't do that. Instead, what should you do instead? Instead, what you should do is take your portfolio, and if you're going to put half in the markets and half in fixed income, that's fine, but don't be taking money out of a pro rata. Instead, take all of your distributions from the fixed income side. In fact, you should be able to do even a little bit better than that, but at least that's where you're going to take your income. Leave the stock market side alone. Don't touch it. Wait for that income side to really be brought down close to zero, and then you can rebalance. But I'm just telling you, whatever you do, have a better plan than just following the 4% rule. That's number one.